What if you've never experienced the world? And I don't mean that as a theoretical or philosophical question, a literal one. You've definitely never experienced what somebody else is experiencing. That's a guarantee. You're not physically capable of it. But what if you've never experienced the world, period? Right? What if everything you've ever experienced, every person, every place, every moment is actually just your interpretation of it, your state, your frequency, being reflected back to you? Right? Let me show you what changed when I finally understood this. So, let me show you what I mean. For a long time, I thought I was experiencing the world. I thought when I walked into a room, I was seeing that room. When I had a conversation with someone, I was experiencing that person. When I traveled, I was experiencing that place. But that's not what was happening at all. I was experiencing my interpretation of it. Based on my state, my frequency, I was filtering everything through my nervous system, my beliefs, and my expectations. And the moment I realized that, the moment it actually dropped, everything shifted. And here's what makes this so important. If that's true, then there's no one to blame, right? There's no external reality refusing you. There's no universe withholding from you. There's no person being cold. That's just a mirror, a perfect, honest mirror, reflecting exactly what you're broadcasting. And that's not depressing. That's actually the most freeing thing I could understand, because it means I have all my power back. Because the only thing between me and what I want isn't the world, it's my signal. And signal, that's something that I can change. Right? But here's what most people don't know. This isn't spiritual philosophy, it's actual physics. In 1801, a scientist named Thomas Young ran an experiment. He was studying light, and he expected light to behave like a particle, right? Straightforward, predictable. But then something weird happened. When he's not looking at the light, when it's completely unobserved, it acted like a wave. It wasn't solid, not even real in the way we think of real. Right? It's a cloud of possibility, a probability field, all possible outcomes existing at the same time. But the moment he looked, the moment observation happened, the wave collapsed. It became a particle. It chose a position in space. And it stopped being potential and became real. Okay, let's sit with that for a second. Because being observed changed what the light actually was. Not what he thought about it or his interpretation of it. Right? The light's actual behavior, its physical reality, changed based on his observation, or just based on observation, period. And here's where it gets relevant. If that's true for photons, it's true for people. Right? Observation doesn't just change how you perceive reality, observation shapes what reality becomes. Which means this, simply, you're not living in a fixed reality. You're living in a mirrored reality. And if that's true, then your observation, your state, your attention, your frequency is literally shaping what's being manifested. Right? The field isn't reflecting your thoughts, it's reflecting your presence, your state, your willingness to actually see. And the moment you understand that, you stop trying to convince an external universe, because there is really no external universe. There's just you and your signal and the field responding to exactly what you're sending out, what you're broadcasting. So let me help solidify this with a simple example. I'm in a conversation with someone I care about. Let's say it's important, critical. But I'm showing up defended, anxious, suspicious. My nervous system is in protection mode. I'm not even saying anything aggressive, I'm just closed, guarded. Right? My shoulders are tight, my breath is shallow, and I'm scanning for what could go wrong. And what happens? Well, the person mirrors it back. Instantly, they become defensive, distant, cold. The conversation gets tense, and I leave thinking, they don't want to connect with me. They're not interested, they're cold. But here's what's actually happening. I was broadcasting, I expect distance, and they were just reflecting that back to me. They were being my mirror. They had no choice. My signal was so strong, it determined how they showed up. Now, the same person, different day, but this time I show up different. I'm present. I'm curious. I'm actually interested in them. My nervous system's calm. Right? My breath is deep. I'm not trying to convince them of anything. I'm just there, available, open. And again, the same person, completely different experience. Right? They soften, they're more engaged. The conversation flows, they share things. And I leave thinking, there's a real connection here. They really get me. Right? So same person, completely different reality. So what changed? Right? Not them, me. My signal. They were just responding to it, being the mirror. Not because they were trying to, but just because that's what mirrors do. They reflect what's in front of them. And this is what I missed and most people completely missed, right? They think the other person is the variable. Right? They think if they could just say the right thing, do the right thing, be the right person, the other person would show up differently. But here's the truth. The other person is showing up differently. They're responding to you, to your frequency, to what you're broadcasting. And once I understood that, and once I actually felt it, everything changed. Because now I knew the only person I need to change is me. Right? Here's something that's going to reshape how you move through the world. You can't experience another person's reality. You can't. You really do not have access to it. You can only experience your interpretation of them. Right? Filtered through your nervous system, filtered through your beliefs, filtered through your frequency. Now here's the thing. Right? Two people can have the exact same stimulus and experience two completely different realities. Not different opinions, different realities. Like they lived in different universes. Let's say someone you care about texts you back late or doesn't text you back immediately. Right? You're both looking at the same thing. But person A is in a fear-based state. Right? Their interpretation, they're upset with me, or I'm not important. This always happens. I'm going to be alone. Right? That's their experience, and that's really real to them. Their nervous system is activated. They're gathering evidence. They're remembering every time this person was slow to respond. And they're building a story. Right? And the story feels true. Person B is in a trust-based state. Same text delay, same stimulus. Their interpretation, they must be busy. I'm safe without their immediate response. This doesn't define my value. That's their experience. And that's completely real to them too. Their nervous system is calm. They're not gathering evidence. They're just present and waiting. Right? Same event, two different universes being experienced. So the question isn't which interpretation is correct. The question really is, why do different states perceive the same reality so differently? And the answer is because what you perceive and what's actually there are not the same thing. They're only the same when you're open enough to let reality be what is, instead of confirming what you already believe. Now, this is the foundation of everything, right? You're not experiencing the world. You're experiencing your state in response to the world. And your state is the only variable that you can actually control. So let's apply this to the quantum mirror concept, right? The field, whatever you want to call it, the universe, consciousness, the quantum field, God, source. The field is not judging you. It's not punishing you. It's not withholding from you. It's not testing you. It's doing the only thing it can do. It's reflecting. It's a mirror, a perfect, honest mirror. It reflects exactly what you're broadcasting. Not what you want, what you are, right? It's not what you say you deserve, what your nervous system is actually transmitting, right? It's not your vision, it's your frequency. And here's the thing that really breaks this wide open, right? The moment you stop fighting the mirror and start changing the signal, you realize you were never trapped by the world. You were trapped by your own broadcast. Let's think about that for a second. You can't blame the mirror for what it's showing you. It's not the mirror's fault. Right? The mirror isn't malfunctioning. The mirror is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's reflecting perfectly. So the only question becomes, what signal do I actually want to broadcast? And the moment you shift from how do I convince the universe to what signal am I sending out, broadcasting, everything now changes. Because now you have agency. Now you have power. And this is not a power over the world, power over the signal, right? What you're broadcasting. And the signal is the only thing that ever mattered anyway. And this really changes everything, right? Let me be absolutely clear about what I'm saying here, because this gets misinterpreted. And I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm not saying other people aren't real. I'm not saying you're imagining the world into existence through positive thoughts alone. What I'm saying is this: the reality you experience, the lived, felt, moment to moment experience of your entire life is generated from your state, your frequency, your nervous system, your openness or closedness, right? And that's actually the best news you could get, because it means that your external reality isn't your problem. Your signal is your only problem. And signal is something that you can change. When you walk into a room angry, you don't experience a neutral room. You experience a room through the lens of anger. You notice threats, you notice dismissals, you notice everyone who's cold. You build a story about the people there that confirms your anger. And your nervous system is scanning for evidence, and it usually finds it, right? But if you walk into the same room, present, open, you experience the same room completely different. And you notice warmth, you notice possibility, you notice generosity. You build a story that confirms your openness. Your nervous system is calm and the world opens. Same room, different signal, different experienced reality. So this is why I say everything you've ever experienced is you. Not because the world is inside your head, but because your state is the filter through which you experience the world. And if you want a different experience, you have to change the filter. You have to change the signal you're sending out. Now here's what this really means in a practical sense, something that you can actually apply, right? You're not waiting for the world to change. You're not trying to convince the universe of anything. You're not manifesting something external. You're shifting the signal you're broadcasting. And you want to do it so clearly that the mirror has no choice but to reflect a different reality back to you, right? Because the mirror has never been external. It's always been you. And the moment you stop blaming external reality and start changing your frequency, the field now responds, because you're now a match for something different, right? You're broadcasting a different signal, and the mirror reflects that signal back. Now here's the radical part, because this isn't something special, and it's not rare, and it's just how reality actually works, right? Everyone has access to this, but most people spend their whole lives trying to convince the universe instead of simply changing their signal. You're not trying to be special. You're just being honest, right? Honest about what you're broadcasting, about what signal you're putting out into the field, and then being willing to change it if you want a different reality. The universe isn't watching you back because you're special. The universe is watching you back because that's what mirrors do. They reflect, right? And the moment you understand that, and the moment you feel that, you understand everything. So in the next video, I'm going to show you the tools, how to actually shift your signal, how to clear what's blocking it. But this is the foundation, this understanding that you're living in a mirrored reality. This is the thing that changes how you move through the world. You have more power than you think. And it's not just the kind of power you were taught to look for. See you in the next one.